Good evening. The June 27th, 2017 meeting of the Marion County School Board is called to order. For the courtesy of those listening to the meeting, I am requesting everyone in the audience please turn off your electronic devices or put them on vibrate. Later in the meeting, up to 30 minutes will be provided for individuals to address the board on matters concerning the operation of the Marion County school system or the school board only. Presentations to the board are limited to 5 minutes and are televised. If you wish to address the board regarding a regular agenda item or matters on which the board customarily takes action, you must first complete a peach form located on the table in the hallway. If you wish to address the board regarding a public hearing or a student discipline matter, please complete the lime green form. These forms must be fully completed and received by the board secretary no later than 5:40 p.m. The procedures applicable for each are on a separate sheet. Madam Secretary, please call roll.
Mrs. Nancy Stacy, District 1.
Here.
Mr. Bobby James, District 3.
Here.
Ms. Angie Boynton, District 4.
Here.
Ms. Beth McCall, District 2.
Here.
Mrs. Kelly King, District 5.
Here.
Dr. Heidi Mayer, Superintendent.
Here.
Mrs. Suzanne Green, Interim Board Attorney.
Here. Thank you. College Park Elementary Principal Laura Burgess, please introduce the media specialist who will be assisting you with the inspiration and leading us into the pledge this evening.
Good evening, School Board. Good evening, Dr. Mayer. We are very, very pleased to be here and honored. We are one of 10 schools in the school district that have open library during the summer, and it has been a wonderful experience for our school. It has helped our school become a hub in the community where we have children that are coming in and they're reading. Sometimes they'll come for breakfast, then they'll go to the media center, or they'll go to the media center, then they'll go to lunch. It also benefits our third grade reading camp students and our VPK students and our robotics camp students. So I'm gonna pass it over to Mrs. Frender, and she's gonna talk a little bit more about our program.
Hi there, everyone. My name is Leah Frender, and I am the media specialist at College Park Elementary. Like my principal said, we are one of the 10 schools in the county that is open on Wednesdays this summer for students and the parents of Marion County to enjoy. It has been a privilege to work on these days and see the students' faces light up as I welcome them into the library. We have been able to serve the general public as well as the various camps at our school, like the reading camp, as well as even the VPK program, which they are especially cute, coming in and listening at story time. Our standards-based activities enhance the students' understanding and enjoyment of our story time read-alouds. Students also are able to check out books so that they can read at home and remain academically active during these summer months. Research has shown that reading just 4 to 5 books during the summer can prevent a decline in students' fall reading scores. Summer reading loss has been shown to be cumulative. So those students that do not read over the summer, they typically do not catch up in the fall. While their peers are progressing with their skills, they're making up for their summer learning loss. By the end of 6th grade, children who lose reading skills during the summer are on an average 2 years behind their peers. That's huge. Huge, just from summer reading. And teachers actually spend an average of 4 to 6 weeks reteaching material that students have lost during the summer. These statistics prove that it's imperative that students keep reading during the summer. As you can see, making materials and programs readily available during the summer is critical, and we at Marion County are doing that with the summer library program. Instead of learning loss over the summer, our students are making learning gains. And not only are we feeding their minds and their bellies, right, but we're also feeding their imaginations, which is amazing to watch. I'd like to thank Dr. Mayer and the rest of the school board for allowing us to host such a valuable program for our students and for the community. Thank you. And if you all will please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Board members, do you have any comments?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Could I ask what the book is for tomorrow?
The book for tomorrow, we're doing Ted Arnold, Fly Guy, so we're focusing on some Fly Guy stories. So I know the kids will be very excited about that, and we have some fun activities for them to complete as well that go along with the story. So it'll be an exciting day in the library tomorrow.
And so every Wednesday now through the end of July, our
the-
10 libraries are open, and they can find all these details on our website, the
That's
specific libraries, but definitely College Park is open.
Definitely College
And you're
Park
ready
is
for them.
Open,
great.
we are smiling and can't wait to see you guys.
Ms. Stacy?
I would like to ask a question. How's the turnout so far?
It's been great. It's been great. We've had families come in. We've had like even siblings come along with their, younger siblings come along with their elementary age brothers and sisters. So it's been a really fun experience.
How did they get the word out over there? Did you have a sign out front that it's open or something like that?
Yes.
Yes, we have a welcome sign that welcomes all of our community to come in every Wednesday.
Oh,
And so
good.
there's a big sign and it says, "Welcome to Library Wednesdays."
Oh, good. Great. Thank you.
So are you tracking the numbers each Wednesday?
Yes, we definitely can track the numbers. So it's not a problem.
Okay, and are you tracking repeats on who comes?
Who comes like this week, and then if they
Yes.
come back, that's definitely available. That's data and information that we can definitely pull.
Okay, I just think as we look at the overall program, that I'd like to know how many repeated, how many new ones came, how many total did we have, and look at that.
I can tell you that in the third grade reading camps, which we have 4 units, that they are able to check out 2 to 3 books every week and take them home and bring them back, which is a lot of time for them. And they really need the reading instruction at home as well. So it has been especially beneficial for our third grade reading camps.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great questions. Thank you. Dr. Mayor?
I recommend approval of the agenda for the June 27, 2017 school board meeting with the materials in the board packet, those materials distributed to board members at the meeting, and the audio recording included as part of the official record of the meeting.
May I have a motion on the superintendent's recommendation? Moved by Ms. Boynton, seconded by Mr. James. All those in favor signify by saying aye, and those that have opposed, like sign.
It's Brenda.
And we have a unanimous vote, 5-0. May I have a motion to approve the minutes for the May 9th, 2017 school board meeting?
So moved.
Moved by Ms. McCall, second by Ms. Boynton. Are there any discussions or any additions or corrections? And I'm ahead of myself. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
May I have a motion to approve the minutes for the, am I ahead of myself?
I'm
Oh.
still
I
going.
know, I am.
Sorry.
I'm in a hurry tonight. Okay, and the motion passed 5-0. May I have a motion to approve the minutes for the May 12th, 2017 school board attorney applicant candidate interviews? Moved by Mr. James, seconded by Ms. McCall. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. The motion passed 5-0. May I have a motion to approve the minutes for the May 18th, 2017 administrative briefing and work session?
So moved.
Moved by Ms. McCall, seconded by Ms. Boynton. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. And those that oppose, like sign. And the motion passed 5-0. May I have a motion to approve the minutes for the May 23rd, 2017 school board meeting? Moved by Ms. McCall, seconded by Ms. Boynton. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes? Seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. And those opposed, like sign. The motion passed 5-0. Dr. Mayer would like to recognize Kevin Christian, Public Relations Officer and TV Media Productions Coordinator, for his expertise in public relations and marketing.
Thank you, Mrs. King. Board, thanks for this opportunity to recognize one of the family. You all know Kevin as the voice of Marion County, but to his colleagues across the state, he is so much more. We would say he is a winner. As Kevin was attending last week the Sunshine State Public Relations Association, the SunSPRA conference, he brought back 2 awards on behalf of Marion County, and I know that he will be humble when he has his opportunity to share them, but we just want to publicly acknowledge just simply how proud we are of you and what you go above and beyond for each of us every day, and I know you do a lot to keep me straight as well, and so that's personally appreciated. But I'd like to turn the microphone over to you so you can share the details of what brought this about.
Thank you, Dr. Mayer. I appreciate those kind words. You may recall last summer, it was about a year ago, I came before you to discuss a project called #IamMarion. And the focus of that actually came through Engage in Education, the group from the Public Education Foundation. And their mission, if you will, their purpose for that particular committee was to raise awareness and pride in Marion County Public Schools. And they felt the best way to target it, first of all, was to look at individuals who've gone through our system, graduated, moved elsewhere to go to college, get their career started, then came back to this community and established roots and are here today. So that campaign started with that idea. We finished with 11 people that we used their image and their year, their high school and their occupation on 3 digital billboards in our community. The goals really were to, as I said, increase pride in our community for our graduates who choose to come back home and enjoy their success. And that's to me the pinnacle of a successful school system, is when you can take those students and educate them, instill pride in them, help them succeed, send them off, then welcome them back. I think that's remarkable. And I'm proud to say that we're looking at a part 2 of #IamMarion, but I'm not going to share those details just yet. But with that campaign in mind, I will remind you there were no tax dollars spent on this campaign. It was all paid for with website advertising revenue that the district generates. So I'm proud to say that #IamMarion earned what's called a medallion award. And I put color on the back of this so you could see it, but it's actually an acrylic award in the shape of the state of Florida. There were 8 of these handed out this year, so they're not easy to earn. They're not easy to accept at times, but I'm proud of our effort because I may be the face and the voice behind this, but there are hundreds of district employees who accepted that mission to take their selfie or take their photograph holding a sign with their high school name and the year they graduated and posted that on Facebook, on Twitter, on social media platforms that gained us over 5.3 million impressions in this community. And that's a lot of exposure for not much money. And really volunteers made it happen because those 11 individuals who were chosen by that committee from Engage in Education, they agreed to have their picture up on a billboard, and not many people want that or would agree to it, but they did, and it really was successful. So we won a medallion award for that campaign. And to be honest, I was expecting it because I knew the campaign was strong enough. What I wasn't expecting was a best of show for the same campaign. Again, I may be the face and name talking about this, but there are hundreds of people in our community who spent a few minutes taking their pictures and posting them that really made it happen. I have a binder in my office of about 75 pages. If you want to see the entire campaign sometime, I'm happy to show it to you. But I'm very proud of it, and it's something we should be proud of as a district because our community made it happen. It's not me, it's our community that made this happen. So Dr. Mayor, thank you for the recognition board. I appreciate your support and your recognition as well. Thank you.
Kevin, congratulations. I thought it was a wonderful campaign, and it just kind of took off. And, I mean, people from all over the community were posting their selfies on their Facebook page. And I had comments from friends in New Mexico that said, "What is this? This is great." I explained it to them, and some of them said they were going to take it back to their districts. So,
Good.
so bravo.
Thank you. And I will note that all of the projects that win a medallion award, you can duplicate them in other districts. That's a requirement to be
Excellent.
judged. So,
Well, congratulations.
thank you.
Kevin, I just would like to congratulate you for Marion County, but also for your leadership in the state. Because I think you are probably one of our best kept secrets. And as I go through the state and we talk with media persons in various communities, they talk about Kevin Christian and the job that you do at Marion County.
Thank you.
And again, board, you may not know this, but this guy is really well known throughout the state. And he's been president of the media, whatever they call it down there, for a long time.
I'm on my 4th year, yes, sir.
So, and I don't think most people know that, but this guy do a tremendous job for the state of Florida, and he represent Marion County extremely well. Thank you, Kevin. Congratulations.
Ms. Stacy?
And Kevin,
Yes, ma'am.
I'd also like to say, I've shown horses and Australian Shepherds, horses my entire life, since I was a child. I know what best in show means. That's the best of the day. And it's not just a flippant award. At the end of the day, that's the big show for us. And so I fully understand what it means. Speaking about spreading his name around, I have spread your name to all my school board member friends. When we're having problems with our phones and we're having, not a problem, I just have Kevin, he lines me up on all my technical stuff because everybody knows I have a problem with that because I have spent my life in a barn. Therefore, I'm not really very techy. So school board members that you don't even have a clue who they are when I go to my group meetings, they all know Kevin Christian because if I'm having trouble with my phone, not a problem, I'll call Kevin. Who's Kevin? Oh, he does everything.
Happy to help.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Mr. Christian. We are so proud of you. So, thank you.
Again, I'm the face and name, but it's everybody. It's because these awards don't happen by themselves.
You are absolutely correct. Thank you. Mrs. Suzanne McGuire, Director of Family, School, and Community Engagement, would like to recognize the top 10 recipients of the 2016-2017 Gold and Silver School Awards from the Department of Education.
Thank you, Madam Chair, School Board, Dr. Mayor. This is very exciting. As most of you remember, last month I was here and we heard some wonderful stories about outstanding school-based volunteers. And really, that's part of the picture. The other part of the picture is every day our volunteers show up at our school and people spend their time and their talent with our children in a variety of ways. So tonight, we're going to recognize, we actually had 31 schools recognized by the Department of Education this year as a golden school. A golden school is a school whose total volunteer numbers are twice the number of the students enrolled. So that's pretty exciting. We also had one silver school, and this school has been a silver school for many years, and that is a secondary school when the total number of their student volunteer hours is about half of their student population. Now, for the 2016-2017 school year, we are going to report to the Department of Education over 170,000 volunteer hours at our school. So I do have some summaries that I'd like to share with you. And since we had 31 schools and we don't have a very large boardroom, we decided that we would at least invite the top 10 schools for you. So we have all of our principals here today, and all of our schools that are being recognized will be getting this official Department of Education certificate. And you do have a copy of their hours. But at first, in 10th place this school year, I'd like to invite up Marion Oaks, who had 4,504 volunteer hours this year. So congratulations. Just gonna stand over here. And some of these numbers are really close. Wyomina was 9th this year with 4,794 hours. There you go. Congratulations. Harborview, 4,799 hours. And you'll see on your reports that this was from July until June of this year. Thank you. Spar Elementary had 5,331 hours. Yes. You are. You are a tiny little school. Madison Street had 5,460 hours. There you go. Thank you. Ward Highlands had 5,589 hours. Thank you. Stanton Weirsdale had 9,237 hours. NH Jones had 12,835 hours. And our top school, which is so exciting, that shows you that any school can truly become a community-based school, is Romeo Elementary, that had over 23,212 hours this year. So I think that if you look at the numbers of the schools and where our top schools are located, you can see truly that our community embraces and appreciates the opportunity to go into our school and work with our students. And I'm just so proud of all of 31 schools, but again, here's our top 10 that we're recognizing. Now, the secondary school that has been the silver school for several years is Westport High School. And I know that I've had conversation with our principals on assignment and showed them some of their school's volunteer hours, and they're going to talk to our principals, and everybody's very excited about having so many more hours and so many more volunteer opportunities on our campuses. So I just want to thank you for the opportunity of recognizing our top 10 schools this evening.
Look at me and smile, please.
And turn around.
Thank you.
And again, thank you so much. And if you have any questions on the spreadsheet, feel free to let me know. Thank you.
I will now ask the school board's attorney to explain the rules governing persons who wish to address the school board tonight.
In compliance with Florida's Sunshine Law, the school board has adopted uniform procedures for public speakers who wish to speak at tonight's meeting, either regarding one of tonight's agenda items or a matter relating to the operations of the school district. These procedures will ensure the public has a reasonable opportunity to be heard on school board and school district matters. A written summary of these procedures is available from the table in the hallway. Public speaker forms are also located on the same table. The completed forms were due to the school board assistant no later than 5:40 p.m. Tonight's speakers will be called prior to the business portion of the school board's meeting in the order of receipt. Based on time consideration, the school board, by majority vote, can decide to limit the number of presentations on any one topic, shorten the presentation times, move public time to a different position on tonight's agenda, or eliminate the public comment time for this meeting and any other. Before you begin speaking, please state your full name and address and spell your last name. Each speaker will have 5 minutes. When the speaker has 1 minute remaining, the speaker will receive a visual notice to complete his or her comments. Speakers may not yield time to others. Speakers and meeting attendees must conduct themselves in a respectful manner. Therefore, verbal attacks, slanderous statements, and profanity are strictly prohibited. Unsolicited commercial solicitations are also prohibited. If there are matters dealing with student discipline, including expulsions, they will be scheduled at the conclusion of the televised portion of this meeting. Parents may address the board regarding a discipline matter at that time. Keep in mind for future meeting that speakers may use handouts or audio-visual presentations, but only if they are provided at least 48 hours prior to the meeting. They must also have a total length of 5 minutes or less. To ensure student privacy, only a parent or guardian may use a student's first or last name. Identifying references to or identification of other students and/or their families are also strictly prohibited. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you. Ms. Bloodketter?
Diane Weingard.
Good afternoon. My name's Diane with 2 N's, Winegard, Weingard. My address is 12250 Northeast 139th Place, Fort McCoy, Florida. And I'm here to speak today. I am the business agent for Marion County for IUPAT, and I'm here to represent my members. And we're having an issue with a job description with plant managers. And I know that everybody's aware that the job position is going away. But the problem that we're having with this, and one of my main issues is that these people are making 14 something an hour, and some of them are going down to 9-11. Now, they've been told that they had to look for other jobs equal to their pay. Several of them have tried, and they have not succeeded. And, okay. The union stance is that how can you ask somebody to go from 1451 to 9/11 to feed your family and take care of them? Also, they were brought to them PSNs to sign one day. They signed the PSNs, and this part here was blank. It was filled in after they signed it, and it was filled in where they were on the I schedule, 9/11. Today, a couple of them got new PSNs that were whited out, and the U schedule was put on there, and some of them went up to 1384. And I know we are filing an unfair labor practice because we feel there's some things that have been going on that needs to be brought attention to the district. And I'm nervous, so you have to excuse me because I'm not a very good speaker. But we're here to protect the employees. I'm sure everyone here would not like to think that you have dedicated employees, and some of them are here, that this job necessarily was not posted for some of them. They were placed in this position, and now you're telling them that they've got to take $2, $3, $4 pay cut. And there was a lot more I was going to say, but it all went out in my head. And I would appreciate, if you guys would table this so we can sit down and talk about it and come to some kind of reasonable solution for these people. These people have families, they've got children. You're not going to make it on 9/11 when you've been making 14 plus for 3 years.
Ms. King, what do you ask?
Ms. Stacy?
You said that they were removed from the I contract to the U contract? And that's what dropped them down to the 9?
Most of them are new employees, not all of them, and they came in under the I schedule. But that did not apply to them because they were considered management. And when we had our PERC hearing, I don't know if y'all are aware that we had a PERC hearing in 9/30/16 to bring them into our unit, along with the head custodians with elementary. And ever since, I feel that they've been retaliation for wanting to become in our union. And ever since, it's been a nightmare. And now this PSN thing is one thing. Why did they come out and have them sign a PSN that was empty? Then now it's typed where their name is. And, oops, sorry. You know, and I have spoke to Dr. Ham about this, you know, and of course now tonight you're voting on our contract, which will be a new combined pay schedule to get rid of the I schedule, and still they do not come up to their wage. And to ask them to take a pay cut like that, I just don't understand.
If we're getting rid of the I schedule, what difference will it make for them if they go on the U?
If they go on a U schedule, well, they're not on any of our schedules yet because something happened. This was during another administration. Payroll and certain people were not informed of what happened, and we were not aware of that.
How many people are we talking about?
We're talking about 6 in total.
6 people?
Yes,
Or the-
ma'am.
What's the shortest amount of time one's been here and the longest amount, like?
I think the shortest time, maybe 3 to 4 years. Don't quote me on that. The longest is 13 plus.
And the one that's 13 plus, has he been put on a U contract? I mean, was he?
He is going to be put, well, right now, he was put on the U schedule, which would have been $13 and I think 60-something cents.
Okay.
And, but the other ones who got a second PSN, the same one that they signed the first time, they didn't sign a different one. And one of them was put in their truck through a crack in their window and then given a phone call and said, you have a piece of paper in your car.
When did that happen?
Today, ma'am.
Okay, let me ask you one more question.
Yes, ma'am.
Are they all doing the same job now? Now that you got these 6 people, are they all doing the same jobs?
Well, see, you
The
know.
$9
plan-
job and the $13 job, is that the same job?
No, ma'am, they are going to become custodians, and that's why their pay is coming down so low. And I know that several of these guys, they're all men, have put in for other jobs and would have had an opportunity within the last year to get a job close or equal to what they're getting and never had a chance. And as far as I'm concerned, they should have been top of the list. You know, and if they were not a good employee, then they shouldn't have never been a plant manager. But evidently, they're all good employees. And I'm here to fight just so they can feed their families. You know, a lot of them went out and bought homes. They got a car. And now when you're making $9.11, and on our new pay scale, some will be making $9.30, you know.
Even on the U contract, even on the U schedule?
A couple of them, I know Fred Norris was on the U schedule. I think there was another one on a U schedule. I'm sorry, I'm nervous and I can't remember the names.
I thought they were all gonna move to the U schedule, because
But they're all gonna be put on the P schedule, but they've never been on our schedule, because when we had the unit clarification and PERC came down with the decision. Now, the plant managers became union members on 9/30/16 because they immediately was agreement between the lawyers and our union and the district to make them, and then the head custodians came later. Yes, ma'am.
are we gonna get some help with this from?
Mr. James?
I'd like to hear the rest of the story. Dr.
Yeah, I was getting ready to call him.
I said, we're
Dr.
gonna get some
Ham,
help with this.
if you don't mind, I think we need some clarification.
Certainly.
Do you mind standing next to me?
Not at all. Been here before. And I want to revisit the issue with you because we've been down this road a couple of times. Almost 2 years ago, the prior administration crafted a staffing plan that did not include plant managers. And the board, in a work session on March 3rd of 2016, roughly 15 months ago, had a discussion about that recommendation from the prior administration to remove those 13 plant managers from the 16-17 staffing plan. And based on that discussion and board input, the administration revised the recommendation and said they would continue the 13 plant managers in the 16-17 staffing plan, with the understanding that they would be deleted at the end of 16-17, which is Tuesday. This would give the people who were in the plant manager job descriptions 15 months to find a different job. Already by the March 3rd, 2016 work session, 4 of them had done so, and we were down to 9 who were plant managers. Now, we've talked about both apples and oranges here tonight, so I want to clarify. It's a management prerogative to define the job descriptions that constitute the workforce, and the staffing plan does that. And there will be no plant managers in the staffing plan come Wednesday morning, July 1st. There's no obligation on the part of the administration to provide any job for those people. However, we were very aggressive since we came into this role to find jobs for those people, and those who were not successful in becoming head custodians or going into tech services. And I know as often as recently as yesterday, one of the 9 did take another position in our maintenance crew in tech services. So we're down to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 remaining. 1 resigned somewhere during the year. Of those 7 remaining, there are 4 who have been with us 2 or 3 years, who were at the beginning of the I schedule. And you'll recall the I schedule was a problem because it was so depressed compared to the U schedule. The tentative agreement that we're bringing to you tonight merges those 2 schedules and provides a more rapid progression for those people to move up. The old U schedule from 0 years to 30 years had a 55-cent differential. And it was 2 things. One, it was too flat and didn't reward experience. And secondly, it was inflated to the point where the people, if everyone was on that part of the schedule, were well above the state average pay for the job. And that's why we ended up merging those 2 schedules. Now, she talked about, and I'm not going to use any names, but there are 4 individuals who were plant managers with 8, 10, and 12 years of experience in the bargaining unit. When the plant manager positions were created, they were created outside the bargaining unit. Subsequent to that time, they filed a clarification request, and PERC ruled that those positions as plant managers should have gone back into the IUPAT bargaining unit. In placing these people now, we have made them whole with respect to that time they were out. In other words, if they were a custodian, became a plant manager, and have now taken a job as a custodian again, we're not counting that as a break in service, and they have been placed based on all of their years of service in the bargaining unit. And understand, the true wage is not known until you pass the consent agenda tonight. That explains why the initial PSNs that were granted when these people accepted custodian positions had the 9/11 figure for those who were 2 and 3 year experience. With the new agreement, the beginning wage for a new custodian will be $9.30 an hour. But for the 4 people who were at 8, 10, and 12 years of experience, a part of the agreement grandfathers them in on the U schedule, even though the U schedule does not exist for any new hires. We have kept the U schedule as a part of the agreement. And let me illustrate a couple of those. We have 2 10-year custodians who became plant managers, and one was making $14.19 an hour, and one was making $14.57 an hour. On the new P schedule, which of course starts lower but has a steady climb to the experience, they would be at $10.65 an hour, but we have grandfathered them so that they will stay at $13.84 an hour. So for the experienced people, we have restored all of their experience credit, even that gap when they were a plant manager, and we are also paying them, the people who are disadvantaged as a result of that placement, a $400 bonus that's included in that agreement as well. And we gave some choices to the union. And I will tell you that the union has signed the tentative agreement for all of that and ratified it with a 70.4% yes vote by their membership. The other two people, one at 8 years and one at 12 years, are going to be at $13.73 and $13.84 respectively. In the case of the 12-year, he's grandfathered at $13.84, which represents 35 cents an hour down from the $14.19 he was as a plant manager. So even though we're not obligated to give them any job when you eliminate a job description from the staffing plan, we have tried very hard to place them all. We have successfully placed them all and minimize the impact on those people. And I think our people in the custodial department as well as our personnel people have worked very hard to preserve as best we can those rights. There's no guarantee of a job for life. And just to give you an example, teacher contracts, when they get a PSN before we've settled a contract, it's going to have a salary number on it. When that comes to Employment Services Division, we settle the contract, the salary amount's put in there, and they receive a pink copy. In this case, the 8 plant managers who took different positions, their pink copies were sent out about 10 or 11 days ago. Today, when I heard from IUPAT that some people said they didn't know what their wage was going to be, I went to Employment Services Division. I said, make another copy of the employee copy of the PSN with the wage on it, and I want them delivered today. So if for somebody that was through a crack in a truck window, that was them trying to get it out today as soon as I knew there was a problem with what they didn't know. But we have done everything we can to preserve good jobs for these people. And even those who are going to be custodians, a second or third year custodian at $9.30 an hour, the increase on the new P schedule is a much steeper slope than they had on the I schedule, which is going away. I think we've done due diligence and really tried to help these people as best we can.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Since we have those 4, and obviously if they were plant managers, somebody thought that they were of the ability to manage custodians, and they still have their jobs today, so they must have done a satisfactory job. What is the chances of them finding something like in the next few months if we really took an interest in those 4, since you've got everybody else settled away? If I ask you on a handshake,
I don't believe in handshake.
for-
I like a written agreement. Thank
well,
you.
for a hand, I mean, more like a favor, like what is the chances of them moving to something over the next year?
I think
Are there
all
gonna
of
be
these.
openings, in other words?
I think
don't
all
know.
of these people bring experience that would be valuable when we have a legitimate opening for which they're qualified. And let me go back and correct what may be a misunderstanding here. Some of these people were hired off the street to be plant managers, and some were custodians who became plant managers. The plant manager position, as it was created, was a hybrid position that blended custodial and minor maintenance services at a school site. The prior administration determined that that was not the most efficient model when we had custodians, and in some cases, we have contract custodians. And we have plumbers, electricians, carpenters who work out of a centralized maintenance function. So if you're paying someone an extra $4, $3 an hour to be this hybrid, and really there's nothing to be fixed this week, so they're only doing custodial work, they determined that was not efficient, and it was better to provide those kind of repair services from the maintenance and repair facility when you need a plumber. And often a plant manager would be able to engage an electrical issue or a plumbing issue to a certain level and then still have to call the specialist to come from downtown. That's why the prior administration decided that they would go back to providing those from a centralized location. So some of the people, that was their first job with the district, whether they had an experience factor or not. But I will tell you that these people have gained experience, and like I said, as recently as yesterday, we had a vacancy in tech services, and one of the 9, now 8 that we were talking about, did accept that new position.
That's what I was curious about, whether there will be, I don't know how many openings and jobs and different things we have and move arounds. I don't know how fluid those jobs are.
We have a lot of turnover in electricians and HVAC mechanics. Those happen all the time, and there's no restriction on people in this bargaining unit applying for a job with a different job description and moving immediately to it if they're qualified.
So they will have the opportunity to continue.
Always. There's no restriction on them applying for any opening that we have for which they're qualified.
Yes.
Okay, first of all, I have a staffing plan here where the plant managers are staffed for 2017-18. Another thing too, these people have applied for jobs and have not been considered. This is the first I've heard of this, which I'm thrilled to death that this person did get the job. But I know several here did apply for the job. I think there was only one that came off the street. Only one that came off the street. And to ask them, when you put this in this job, and I'm gonna tell you, these people do everything. And they still continue to work in a sort of, well, no, they've been kind of taken out of that. I have to take that back. But what we need, what I want is the board to be fair and to go from 1451, and it might be 9:30, and on these PSNs, they have 1384, which is close, but I do not think it's fair. I do not think it's fair, and that's what I'm here to represent these people, and I'm going to continue to fight for them to have a living wage that they've been earning for 3 years. And, you know, this past year, they've been looking for jobs, and they've been turned down. And they should have been the first ones to be looked at, in my opinion.
Any other discussion?
We're in a portion where we have someone speaking to the board. Do we have anybody else want to speak on this thing?
Yes, we do.
Yes.
Okay,
Go ahead.
Okay.
okay, thank you.
Another thing before we go, these people signed up to be in the union. In December, payroll took them out. And I talked to Dr. Ham about that, and he said that no one had received the clarification decision from PERC. And we are putting them back in. But I want to make you guys aware that that is illegal to take a person out, that they sign a document that says the only way that they can get out of the union is to be notified. And no one was notified, and the union was not notified. But I always have my members check, because sometimes when you're on medical leave, you're dropped. And I asked them to check, and this is how I found out. They were taken out of the union without notifying me or them. If anybody should have been notified, it should have been them.
I have an important question for myself. From the time that they applied to be part of the bargaining unit, how long after that was it that we decided we didn't need plant managers anymore? Was it a long time, or like a short time, or?
Mrs. Stacy, I think it started a little bit before. Remember when Mr. Roach came up and spoke? And after that, they came into our unit, and when they had the unit clarification, the district never brought up anything during that, and I have the minutes, about them being taken out, you know, as their position being deleted.
Now, my question is,
Yes, ma'am.
when they, as plant managers, applied to be part of the union, where in time was it that the district decided that we were not gonna have plant managers anymore? Do you know that, Dr. Ham?
By the records I'm able to examine, the recommendation from the district to eliminate the plant manager positions came before the PERC hearing on whether, you recall the PERC hearing was not just about plant managers. It was about plant managers, head one custodians, head two custodians, and food service managers, because IUPAT was requesting that all four of those be brought into the bargaining unit. And during that process, there was an agreement to accept two of those, and the PERC recommendation was also to put a third of those back into the unit. So only actually two of them, because the food service managers and the head custodian twos remain on the non-instructional management salary schedule. And the problem to which she refers on why they were initially immediately accepted and started paying dues following that PERC determination, they were still on the non-instructional management pay schedule. And the people in payroll and the people in employment services division are two different groups of people. And I'll admit that we made a mistake. And the mistake was that everybody who's on the IUPAT schedule is eligible to join the union, is in that bargaining unit. And those people on the non-instructional management schedule are not, because that's why there's a separate schedule. And so they were confused when they saw them being paid on that schedule. They just stopped the deduction. And I know why they do that. For example, when a teacher gets selected to be an assistant principal, they leave the bargaining unit and the payroll people stop taking out their union dues because they're no longer eligible. It was a mistake. We offered to go back and collect the back dues, and IUPAT graciously said no, they wouldn't do that to their people. But that was an error. It was not intentional. It wasn't designed to frustrate. And I believe there were 5 cards that I saw on people who had signed up, and they had good documentation of that. It was just an error.
And I'd like to remind Dr. Ham that IUPAT is non-instructional. We are not teachers, and some of our rules are different.
Let's hear the rest of this speaker.
Okay, we're gonna move along.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Mr. Stephen Hall.
Steve Hall, 2619 Corrine Drive, Orlando, Florida. I'm one of the business reps for the IUPAT. I helped shepherd this unit of workers who asked us to be included in our union. First of all, let me say that right around the time that Mr. Roach spoke, was when we filed for that job classification to be certified as in the unit. The management of the previous administration never wanted plant managers to be in the union. That's why they called them plant managers. Their position was they're management. They can't be in the union because management can't. But the definition of management by law, by the Public Employees Relations Act, is in order to be a manager, you have to have the power to hire and fire, the power to discipline, write proposals for negotiations, those kinds of things. That defines you as management, and you can no longer be in the union because you don't have a shared community of interest. So, and also that's why teachers have a separate contract. We're not all in one big union. is because professionals don't have a shared community of interest with the blue-collar workers. I've been doing this for 20-some years now. I used to organize nurses, I've organized blue-collar workers, we have the Leon County School Board, the Brevard County School Board, the Marion County School Board, the City of Bartow, City of Deerfield Beach, City of Cape Coral, City of Sweetwater. You know, we have a lot of public employee units. So when we first filed for this group to be certified as in the unit with PERC, we tried to have a hearing, and Mr. Levitt was passing a kidney stone that day, and so they filed for an emergency extension of time and was granted that. So it was almost a year before we actually had the hearing to include these people in the unit. During the course of that year, the workers were being told, we're going to eliminate the position. Now, that's intimidation. And so some of them were told, you need to take this custodial position over here because we're going to eliminate this position. One-on-one was told, you need to take this custodial position over here because we're going to eliminate your position. So it's out of fear that they took those custodial positions for less money, because you're talking about people's lifelines here. There was one of them, thank God, got a better job working over in IT. But it's out of fear that these employees have taken these other jobs. What qualified that fear was in December when management told payroll, quit taking dues out of their check. It was a unilateral and arbitrary decision to stop taking dues out of these people's checks. And that's a violation of Chapter 447 of Florida statutes. The only way dues can stop coming out of their checks after they've submitted a card requesting that these dues be held out of their checks and forwarded to the union is by writing to both the union and the employer saying they want dues to cease. And if you check Chapter 447, you'll see that that's the law. Given that, and given the fact that we feel that these people were intimidated, harassed, coerced, and subsequently retaliated against because of their getting themselves into the union, that's forced us as representatives of these workers to file an unfair labor practice charge with the state of Florida, which I know the school board received yesterday, because we put a push on it when we heard this was coming up at the school board meeting. I would advise you to table this issue until such time as the Public Employees Relations Commission has an opportunity to rule on the unfair labor practice charge that's been filed. I think my time is up, correct? I got the 1 minute sign.
You have 30 seconds.
I got 37 seconds. Thank you very much. I want to thank School Board Member Stacy. I did listen to the workshop, and she was a big advocate of keeping these people. They're not plant managers. What they really are is what we would call in other places and up north, building superintendents. They go around fixing little things that they can fix. If it's out of their realm, they call a shop and have a tradesman come over and fix it. If it's a light bulb, they change it. But if it's a light fixture, they call the shop. But that's the kind of things they do, and I understand it's been a great help to the schools. And this custodian thing, the subcontracting, has not worked. A lot of the contractors, they're getting rid of them because they can't man the job, they don't pay enough. People were stealing the supplies and the materials and the VCRs, DVD players, and TVs. And so they're getting rid of some of these contractors, but they also checked on those contractors to make sure they did their job. So my time has expired. If most of you know me, you have my number. If you want to contact me and talk more about it, thank you very much. Have a good evening.
Ms. Green, did you have a comment?
I mean, I don't mean to hinder any discussion, but I do think that perhaps in light of potential litigation, that maybe the question should be carefully tailored or for the future.
Okay, so we should table.
I mean, you can move forward, you can table it for later, but I would, y'all are welcome to talk as much as you like about it. I just think with some of this.
Do we have any more speakers?
Do we have any more speakers? That's it. That's it. Mr. James.
One of the things I have, so you need to know where I am. We have been talking about the plant managers for a year or more than a year. And I think everybody at one point know that this day was gonna come where the plant managers would be going away. All the things that I've heard here indicate that there was some other plot other than the fact that that was not a cost sufficient for us to continue with the plant manager. My concern would be, if we have something coming up, I don't mind tabling it, but I do want people to understand, I still think we need to make sure that we understand that we have been discussing this for a period of time. And all the employees that were in those plant management jobs had an opportunity to seek employment in the school district. Okay, now I am concerned about the wages and the drop in the wages, but I've heard a way in which Dr. Ham has explained that we're talking about 35 cents or a small portion of what they're getting. But my concern more than anything else is that we have been talking about this for a while. And at some point, we have to go ahead and say, are we gonna have plant managers or we're not? And we have said that we were gonna do that. As a board, we said we were gonna do that. Now, where are we going with it now? Because I'm listening at a file for unfair labor contract lawsuit, that's on the table. Okay, when we get to this, I don't mind pulling it or tabling it till we get this squared away, but I do feel that we need to really stick with what we said we were gonna do as a board.
Ms. McCall?
My question is, since those positions are not in the new staffing plan, can we approve everything else in the staffing plan tonight without that, or do we have to, does it have to come back to a board meeting? I mean, we need,
There is no item before the board right now. This is merely open discussion. You have on the consent agenda 2 issues that would tangentially impact this. One is the staffing plan that we've had 2 work sessions, and it continues that plan to eliminate those positions. I'm very concerned that the people who have already secured other work, having been a plant manager, and the rationale for eliminating those positions has not changed, would now be disadvantaged. I'm not sure what it is that you would be tabling. And the other thing that I'm concerned about is we now have a filing of a ULP. And as I understand the letter that I've read and Mr. Hall's comments, there are 2 major elements to which he's objecting. One is that in trying to offer other jobs to those employees, they perceived that that was harassment to get them to take another job, even though the train was on the tracks. And the second one is that we intentionally stopped taking dues, and I believe it was an honest mistake based on the salary schedule on which those people were placed. Either of those issues would be argued during an unfair labor practice hearing and would be ruled upon by PERC. Neither of those 2 issues has any bearing on either the staffing plan or the PSNs that we have now that continue these individuals as employees beyond Wednesday.
I defer to Ms. Green on that.
I mean, to adopt Dr. Ham, I mean, that train's rolling, so, I mean, as far as.
Excuse me, I have a copy that came off the agenda where these people were put on this staffing plan for 17-18.
Okay, thank you.
On the budget.
I'm sorry, but
And
that is not in the board packet that was approved at that board meeting.
Nothing is gonna stop
Right,
that,
okay.
moving forward or not.
So we need to decide if we're moving forward or table. I think I understand where we are. So do I have a consensus that we're gonna move forward, or
I think we have to move forward. I don't think
is this going?
Let's go ahead and move forward.
Move forward. Ms. Boynton?
Well, I know we talked about this for over a year, and all the people that came in, they knew. I mean, I think if we had changed to another, it would hurt them too. You know, so I think we to keep going, what we said, I think we go ahead. I would want to have some, you know, for them to still be to work for us, you know, but, I mean, I also like to talk about where, after we talked to Dr. Ham, said he's already found those people, right? He said they were like, is it, no? That some, that,
Everybody but these four.
Okay, first of all,
okay. Okay.
in the board packet this evening is the contract settlement, which has been ratified by their unit, and it's waiting on your approval, so that we can pay retro pay to those people, $740,000 worth of raises for the 16-17 year. That's in the packet. They've agreed to it. All that remains is your approval on the contract, which does not include plant managers. There's the staffing plan that you've had 2 work sessions on, and there are no plant managers in that staffing plan. Now, I understand you have concerns, and maybe we would like to discuss at a work session the opportunities there are for people to change jobs within Marion County. But as of right now, everybody we've talked about has a job within Marion County. The experienced people, the 8, 10, and 12-year people, have a very minimal decrease because we've found jobs for them and grandfathered them. Plus, we're part of this package is a $400 bonus for the insult of changing those schedules. So I don't know what you would table. At this point, there's no action before the board for a vote. If you want to discuss this more, we can certainly do it in a work session, but there's no pending action before the board right now.
Okay. Ms. Green, is that?
I mean, I agree with that. I mean, there can be more discussion, but I guess I was getting the feeling that there were some concerns with the perk issue and that, that's already rolling.
Okay. I'll say one more thing since I talked about it a lot.
Ms. Stacy?
I agree with Mr. James. We sat there and we did talk about the plant managers. And that within a year, this position would be going away. We know that. And we hoped that, the discussion was that we hoped that everybody would find a somewhat comparable job. And it looks like we kind of have 4 sacrificial lamb who did not yet. Nothing that's on the agenda tonight really can change that. The only thing that's why from the first time I started talking about it, I asked, considering this is a really unusual situation, and we have 4 people who were caught in this position where their salaries were, I mean, I know with administrators, we don't like for administrators to ever have to lose pay, and we do everything we can to make sure administrators don't get sent to another administrative job where they lose too much, and we work with them. And that's why, basically, my only request was that in any way Dr. Ham could assist them as far as if there's a job coming up or something, just to make sure that these 4 are notified, maybe through their union or whatever, of positions that are coming up or something. That's something that we could do that wouldn't cost us anything, but it will kind of help these guys know that there's positions coming up that they can apply for. But I really don't know anything else we can do, except just kind of
Ms.
help them.
Stacy, they've applied for positions.
Wait, we're not gonna, thank you, apologize.
That's about all I think we can do.
Yeah. Okay. All right, so we're gonna move forward. Okay. I would like to recognize Brady Bauer from Troop 72, if you don't mind standing up. He's from Ocala, Florida, and today he is observing our meeting as part of his citizenship in the community. So thank you for joining us. May I have a motion to approve the consent agenda C8.1-C20.4, including revision 2 to the school times for the 2017-2018 under item C9.1.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Ms. McCall, seconded by Mr. James. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. And those that oppose, like sign. And the motion passes 5-0. May I have a motion to remove from the table the following motion? Approve the outside counsel agreement with attorney Mark Levitt of Allen, Norton, and Blue, PA. May I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. James, seconded by Ms. McCall.
I'm gonna do this one manually, I'm not sure what's going on, so. So it's Mr. James and Mr. McCall. Mrs. McCall, okay. It's not letting me,
Can I move along?
yeah.
The motion to approve the outside counsel agreement with attorney Mark Levitt of Allen, Norton, and Blue, PA is now on the floor and open for discussion.
We did a verbal vote, right?
Not yet, we're getting ready.
No, you got to do a verbal vote to remove from the table first.
Oh, excuse me.
Sorry.
Can I have a verbal vote to remove from the
Aye.
table?
Aye.
Okay,
Okay.
sorry, it's,
Okay, now the motion is on, open for discussion. Is there any discussion?
I believe we discussed it quite well at the workshop, and that anyone that might have interest in that could have been there to hear the discussion, because it is posted on the agenda and advertised, so I have no further discussion.
I move we accept the contract of Mark Levitt, outside counsel agreement.
okay, what to, do an audio vote? I have a screw up here, I apologize.
Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
No.
I don't think we have a
So there's,
4-1.
oh,
We don't need to, it already was done originally. It's 4-1,
so it's
right?
4 yes and 1 no.
Who's the no?
Who was the no?
Okay.
May I have a motion to remove from the table, the following motion? Approve the outside counsel agreement with Michael Saboni with Saboni and Buchanan, PLLC. We have a motion and a second? Joe?
We have to let it stay there.
We're gonna remove it, put
To-
it back on?
We're gonna remove it and then we have to put it back on.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I know it's a little tricky. Okay.
So moved then.
Moved by Mr. James, seconded by Ms. McCall.
By Ms. Boynton.
Ms. Boynton.
Boynton?
Ms. Boynton. Excuse me?
This one, they're both are screwed up.
They're not, okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. The motion to approve outside counsel agreement with Michael C. Saboni and Saboni and Buchanan is now on the floor. Are we gonna discuss this?
I move we table it again.
Okay, thank you.
Until the July 25 board meeting. We need
July
a-
25th.
Until the July 25th board meeting.
Okay.
And second was,
Ms. Boynton. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, so per board discussion at the June 22nd, 2017 work session, and we already did that, so I'm getting ahead of myself here. All right. May I have a motion to approve the following cash or tangible donations that have a total value of $44,241.55 and rescind a donation in the amount of $5,000, which was inadvertently approved on the June 13th, 2017 board agenda. $1,000 to Bellevue Middle School from Lockheed Martin, $1,003 to Dr. N.H. Jones Elementary School from Dr. N.H. Jones Parent Organization, $4,000 to Dr. N.H. Jones Elementary School from Andrew Sivaranatam of Ocala Lung and Critical Care. $4,070.69 to Denellen High School from the Friends of Denellen Christmas Parade, Inc. $4,000 to Emerald Shores Elementary School from their business partner Closet Maid. $16,000 to MCPS School Social Work Services Department for the Homeless Needy Children's Program from Community Bank and Trust of Florida. $2,000 to Reddick Collier Elementary School from Louise Warner. $3,500 to Silver River Museum from the Cannon Law Firm, PA. $1,487.86 to Stanton Wearsdale Elementary School from the Santiago Women's Club. $7,180 to Westport High School from Ford Lincoln of Ocala, Driven to Give program. And we're gonna rescind donation of $5,000 to Bellevue High School from the Bellevue High Softball Boosters, previously approved at the June 13th, 2017 school board meeting. May I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. James, seconded by Ms. Boynton. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Mr. James, do you want to thank him after this?
I sure will.
Okay, wait.
It's always a pleasure to thank people that really support our school system. And when I say that, I didn't get the total numbers. Did anybody give us the numbers?
Yes, I did. It was 44, hold on. See, we have so many, I have to go back 3 pages. It was $44,241.
And when we talk about those numbers, and again, it's one of those things where people are really contributing to our school system. And it's always a pleasure to say thank you for people that really go out of their way to really help the students of Marion County. So again, on behalf of all of us and all of the students that will benefit from this, and the students that are on the outside looking in, you will benefit as well. Thank you. Okay.
The next administrative briefing and work session is scheduled for Thursday, July 20th, 2017 at 9 a.m. The purpose of the work session is to review school grades, 3-year technology plan update, graduation protocol board policy, and the 5-year work plan draft. A special board meeting will be held on Monday, July 24th, 2017 at 9 a.m. The purpose of this board meeting is for the board members to receive the 2017-18 tentative budget and millages, and approve for advertising purposes only. Okay, and we're going to move on to our board concerns or comments. And we will begin with Ms. Stacy.
Well, we've had some nice workshop meetings and some nice things. I will be going to my meeting in a couple of weeks, and we'll be bringing back information. I know part of the school board went to their state school board association meeting. I belong to a different association, and I look forward to maybe getting some information shared back with me from their meeting, and I will be sharing with them the information that I bring back with my meeting. I hope that I'll be able to get with some of Secretary DeVoe's team, and we're looking forward to some great information that's coming down from the federal government.
Mr. James?
I had an opportunity to do 2 things. I had an opportunity to go down to the school board meeting, and I met my fellow board members, and we really had a great board meeting. I mean, an opportunity to meet other people from other districts and find out some of the good things that are going on in the state. And then I had the opportunity to drive back up to the Marion Technical College graduation. And the thing I will say is a little different from the rest of our graduations. I was able to see some of my students that I had given a high school diploma to walk across that stage with a vocational certification. And this, to me, is what it was about. Seeing a student that received a high school diploma in 2009 or 2010, and for them to walk across with a vocational certificate certified them as a nurse or in welding. And this will let us know that our school district is really doing some neat things. We had over 300 students there. The building was packed. The superintendent was there, and along the stage, up on the stage rather, there was some really good speakers. We had a chance to listen to our sheriff, and he did an outstanding job of motivating and encouraging people to do well. And if you are out there and you don't like your job that you're currently doing, you should really see what we go and look at what we're doing at Marion Technical College, because there's some neat things going on. And when I say this to you, it's never too old, because I saw some kids walk across. They're not kids. I saw some students that walked across that stage. I had them when I was teaching at Forest High School, and to see them continuing their education in a vocational certification was really neat. So again, I wanted to let Mark, Vianella, and those guys know that they have done a wonderful job with the program, and hopefully, as the year go on, as next year go on, they promised me it will be bigger and better next year. So it was a job well done.
Ms. Boynton?
Well, you know, I had a good time with the School Board Association. She was pinned in, and I was very proud of her, of Heidi, and not Heidi, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You know. That's getting better. And you were certified. I'm proud of you. Thank you for making that time to do that for all the school board. Thank you. Yeah, you know, that's all.
Ms. McCall?
I want to concur with what Ms. Boyne said. I like Ms. King received her certified board certification, which takes a lot of hours, and but you learn a lot, and the networking that comes with being a member of the Florida School Board Association is invaluable. Also, I just want to say what I said at the workshop. I know that there's a lot of disgruntled people with the passing of 7069, and I was one of those people because I didn't like the way the bill came across. Although there are some good things in it, there are things that are concerning. But now that it is here, I know that our district and our teachers will take this and run, and we will do the very best that we can with it. And I hope that everybody will have a positive attitude moving forward, and that we work within the parameters that have been set for us in a positive manner. So, thank you. That's all I have to say.
Ms. Green? Ms. Blocketter? Dr. Mayer?
Hi. Well, we want to first welcome back a member of our family. Officer Hunt is back with us this evening. Yes, let's, because he's a new dad for the second time. So we are welcoming baby Ryder to the world, and baby Ryder is now 1 month old, and he joined older brother Jordan, and so everybody's doing well. Mom's doing well. And you said earlier you were sleeping, so things are good. Yes. So we are just so glad to have you back, and he's got great pictures. So you'll make sure baby Ryder is a big boy too, born with a lot of hair. Was Jordan born with a lot of hair too? Yes. Okay. All right. Well, beautiful children, and we are just so glad that you're back and everybody's doing well. So give our regards to Mom and the boys, please. Okay. Great. Last week I wanted to share again for everybody that our Chief Financial Officer, Ms. Boston Ellis, was at the Florida Association of School. What is it, Ms. Boston Ellis? What's the official title of that?
FOA, Florida School Finance Officers Association.
Florida School Finance Officers Association. That's as long as Mr. Christian's organization. But while she was there, we are so proud of you because you were leading a great discussion that involved the Department of Education, and so you were giving them some guidance. And as Ms. McCall said, we are in uncharted territory right now, and we are proud and we sleep well at night knowing that you're at the helm and you've got us covered. And thank you for that. Thank you for that and all the details and all the extra that you put in. And really, thanks so much. And again, as Ms. McCall said, with the signing of House Bill 7069, that we are, ma'am, we are moving forward and we're going to make it happen. And as I shared before, that we will either find a way or we'll make our own. But it's going to happen, and we're going to take care of these kids because we can do it, and we've got the team in place to make that happen. Coming up, we have a holiday. It's 4th of July next week, so this is for a few weeks the last time that we'll be together. But just a reminder that for 4th of July, that we are on our summer schedule anyway here in the district, and typically we work the 4 days, Monday through Thursday, the long hours with Friday off. But next week, because 4th of July is Tuesday, we will be working, we'll be off this Friday, and then we will be off Monday the 3rd, and Tuesday the 4th, and then we will work Wednesday through Friday to make up our hours. So just so the public knows, and a reminder to the board. And it was nice to be able to just flip that Friday so that our employees have that long weekend without having to take leave. And with that too, we wish everybody a safe holiday, and especially students. Please be mindful of safe decisions as you are enjoying this holiday, which is an exciting time to celebrate. And that leads us into our books, because it is the 4th of July, and it's an exciting time to think back on our American history and the great things that have happened in our country. And often it's hard for young people to relate to our presidents because they're kind of old people. So if we look at the presidents when they were kids and the great things that they accomplished as children, this is an awesome book, and it profiles each of our presidents, but from the time they were kids. And that truly anybody in our country has the opportunity to do great things, and that kind of mirrors our school district, that we provide great opportunities for kids to do great things. And with that as well, just some other books about our presidents, so we can go from the very first one to our current one, and bringing literature into history, as Ms. Gerlach and Mr. McAteer shared before, that's where we're moving, to highlight the great things that happened in our country and continue to happen. And a final book that it really touched my heart, and I just found this one last night at the bookstore. It's called Blue Sky, White Stars, and it profiles our flag. But what it does in the book is on the left side, it's a scene from America. On the right side, on each with each word, it will be the flag. So red rose, and you see trees, red rose, the rose of the flag. And that's all it does through the whole book. Very simple words. White rose, the clouds, white rose from the flag. So very simple words, but very powerful illustrations. And this is one, as I look to the back with Ms. Gerlach and Mr. McAteer, they could use it on either side of the house, elementary or high school, because the simplicity of the book, though, leads to great discussion with the older kids. Old Glory. So again, simple words, but it goes really deep. This page particularly touched my heart, where we see woven together. So woven together with people protesting peacefully for their rights as Americans, and then we see the flag woven together. So again, it really goes and touches your heart. So I would encourage you to take a look at that. And about books, Mrs. King, you and I explored the libraries. We were at Maplewood last week. Do you want to share a little bit about that? And then I'm going to jump to something else before we turn it over to you.
Okay, yes, I will share with that. Dr. Mayer and I visited Maplewood Elementary last Wednesday, because we know that Wednesday is the day that 10 of our media centers are open. We had a good day, didn't we? The librarian, I believe it was Miss Lowe, she read the students. Actually, we had some third graders in there with us. So not only are students with children and families coming in, but if there's children there, they'll also come into the media center. But they read the Clack Moo, and after they read that, they did a little curricular activity, and then they did some coloring and stuff like that. And it was interesting because one of the students corrected me, because what I thought was a unicorn was really an alicorn and stuff like that. So it was just kind of fun and funny. And then after that, the students were allowed to shop for their books. So it was good to see that. What comes to my mind is there was a little boy sitting in front of the books, and you could just see him pondering and looking at all the books in the selection. So hopefully we will see more students out there. And as what was alluded to earlier, we are collecting data on how many students are actually coming in, probably the reoccurrence. There was good questions that you guys asked earlier today.
And we'll do a presentation for you all and for the public on that, because again, the referendum dollars that were voted so graciously by Marion County taxpayers help pay for this summer. So we appreciate that very much, and so we will have a report on that. And with that adventure, I had another adventure yesterday, and I was able to visit the Fort King Historical Site, and I was with you, Ms. McCall. And I want you to share some, but there was a point when we were sitting at the table with the gentlemen who are running the museum, and they had excavated something that belonged to Andrew Jackson. Can you recall in pictures from history where during the time of the Seminole Wars, the uniforms that the military would wear, and they crossed here, like a band here and a band here, and they crossed, and in the middle there was a medallion. Well, they had the actual medallion that Andrew Jackson had, and they handed it to me, and I'm holding it, and I started to cry because it was so emotional that, oh my gosh, in Ocala, Florida, we have this history, and it was just so powerful. And then both of our minds just started spinning with all the opportunities. So would you share a little bit about that?
Sure. For those of you that don't know, the Fort King site is the reason Ocala is Ocala. Fort King was designated as a fort, and it was actually a peaceful fort before the Seminole Wars, and then there were friends to the Seminoles who had been moved off the reservation and moved into that area. And then, of course, during the Seminole Wars, the first fort was burned down, and they built a second fort, which was this massive, probably the largest fort in history, was what we were told yesterday. The artifacts and everything about it were marvelous. So they are rebuilding the fort. It was made a National Historic Site several years ago, and they are in the process of rebuilding the fort. They had a grant through the state, and they also have done private fundraising, and also the TDC has given them a grant to build this fort. It is a true historical site. Many, many artifacts have already been found. The opportunities for our students, there are 42 acres right there on that property. People think you just drive in the driveway, there's a house, but there's actually 42 acres on that site that has been preserved, that is part of this historic landmark. So we spent a lot of time on discussing how our students can benefit. Look at Mr. McAteer back there. He is smiling because he's such a history buff. We are so excited. So they are building the fort. It will be ready for us to start taking classes out there in January. And they're going to be they have curriculum design, so stay tuned. We have found out that there is a trustee position on the Heritage Association. So Dr. Mayer is deciding who's going to sit on that from our school system so that we will be totally engaged. But vocationally, there's so many things that our students can do. So we're excited, and I'm very, very excited about it. And thank you for going out with us.
Well, it was fun, and we're going to book another appointment so I can
Yes.
spend longer, because that was great. That was
Yes.
just great.
My children grew up on that property because that was the McCall homestead from 1953. And I can say for the McCall family, it was Dr. McCall and Mrs. McCall, my in-laws' vision to preserve that spot and never let it be developed. And so to the McCall family that I am now part of and have been for 43 years, thank you for that vision, because it's a fabulous site.
Thank you. And so just happy 4th of July. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay, as you did me earlier for recognizing that I was certificate, I would also like to recognize Ms. McCall as an emerging leader. When we were at the Florida School Board Association, in her short 7 months that you've been a board member, you're already being recognized as an emerging leader. I was hoping you would have wore your pin, because she was pinned.
I forgot it.
and-
I will wear it next time.
Okay, okay. So I just wanted to say congratulations and also recognize our other board members that were there with us. It was a good meeting. We were down there together, and it is a good time to go down and network. You know, just as soon as yesterday, I had a fellow board member from another county email me, you know, about a question that was happening in Marion County. And actually, I wasn't even aware of what it was. And I was like, well, thanks for bringing this to my attention. But I could help her address it. And so it's a good experience. So thank you. And also, I'm going to end on that I have the utmost confidence in our staff, our students, our teachers, our custodians, our transportation specialists, and our superintendent. Because I know, as was mentioned earlier, we are in uncharted territories, and there's a lot of unknown, but it's okay. You know, we know what we have before us, and we're not going to let it slow us down. We're not going to reflect and look backwards. We're going to stay laser focused on what's in front of us, and we're not going to have any distractions except for what is best for our students. And as Mr. Christian said earlier, it's the community and the staff members that help make things happen. And you are absolutely correct. And a perfect example is Mr. Christian and Ms. Boston Ellis back there, leaders not only in this county, but in the state. And so I'm just going to recognize that, and no more looking back, just forward. So on that, all right. And on that note, we're going to move along. Before addressing expulsion matters, I wish to acknowledge that board members have received the alternative placement list for students through June 8th, 2017. Ms. Blockheader, are there any parents who have submitted a timely request to speak on their child's disciplinary matter?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
They're strange.
May I have a motion to approve the expulsion of students JD 17-88, JD 17-130, JD 17-131E, JD 17-132, and JD 17-133 with educational services through the entire 2017-2018 school year?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Ms. McCall and seconded by Mr. James. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. And those that oppose, like sign. It's telling us we're not present to vote. Should I just do a verbal one,
Let me
or?
try again.
All right.
Is that better?
Thank you. Yes, and the motion passed 5-0. May I have a motion to approve the expulsion of student JD 17-129 without educational services through the entire 2017-2018 school year?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. James, seconded by Ms. McCall. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. And those that oppose, like sign. There being no further business, may I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Moved by Ms. McCall, seconded by Ms. Boynton.
You ought to get the best work on that thing.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Okay, and the motion passed 5-0. The meeting is adjourned at 7:10.